Okay. All right. I think the live is running. Yes. And so whenever you want to kick it off, please be my guest.
Okay. I guess I can introduce the session. So I'm Wanu, and this is oh, okay. Yeah, this is Luke and Gloria, and we're going to talk a bit about the Morningside Academy and Design Plus and our experience with design at MIT. So I'm a senior, class of 26. I'm a double major in course 4 and course 1. That's architecture and civil engineering, and I'm doing a minor in 18, which is math. And after I graduate this spring, I'll be doing a PhD in civil engineering. And so my experience with Design Plus, I was in Design Plus in my freshman fall, and it was really helpful because it gave me access, like 24/7 access to the Design Plus space, which is both a lounge space, it has study spaces, and it has, tools for rapid prototyping. There's a woodworking shop, there's scrap wood, scrap metal, a laser cutter, 3D printers, and those are all really helpful. So I'll share a couple of the projects that I did in my first couple of years at MIT with those resources and just how it helped me. The first one is actually not even a class project, but a personal project. And I made these little flower frame things as a present for my parents. And what I find fun about it is that I didn't have to buy any of these materials, like the sheet metal, the wire, the wood, even the wood stain and like wood finish. I got all of that just from a scrap in the workshop. So it was low cost for me and just a really fun project. And then some other projects that I did for class. I'm just showing a couple of pages from my portfolio, but this chair was made in a class called 4500, where you learn how to use CAD and then you prototype this chair using a huge sheet of plywood and a CNC. And those skills like CAD, um, cutting out of wood, and like making sure to keep all the tolerances in mind so you can get it right the first time are things I was able to learn like during Design Plus, having access to all their tools. Even before that, the first studio I took, which was 4021, it's called How to Design Anything. I made like this paper light enclosure, and then later on, this construct out of sheet metal, all of that using the laser cutters in the Design Plus space. So yeah, that's a bit about me, and I'll pass it off to the next person who wants to talk about their experience.
Yeah, so my name's Luke. I'm a sophomore studying mechanical engineering, focused in electrical engineering, so down kind of a robotics type of path. I did Design Plus last year as a first year, and I'm an associate advisor now. I'd say my experience with design, especially in Design Plus, it was super helpful. Apart from all the tools and makerspace and everything, it was really helpful to be in this kind of community where, like, if like I'm trying to figure out, oh, how can I build this? How can I build this? How do I use this tool? What's the best way to do this? There's always someone I can ask, and if they don't know, they know how to point me in the right direction. So that was super helpful. I don't have a picture of it actually on my portfolio, but the project that we worked on for my first semester in Design Plus, it was a scalable farm. So basically, it was the idea is that you build a vertical farm for use in urban environments, and then basically you can grow a lot of food for people and like make use of space like rooftops, for example. This was a really unique design experience for me because my other experience is a lot of like hackathons and stuff and like robots, but this is more like the criteria we had to meet was like make sure it's cheap, make sure that it's efficient using common materials, and like make sure that you can do it with like basically hand tools. So it was really interesting to be able to like kind of use design in a different way and focus on different parts of it. Apart from that, I'll just show a couple quick things for my portfolio. So other than that, I'm in combat robotics. So I do like some fun little robots. I'll just share my screen real quick. Just one sec. So yeah, here is my like portfolio. These are two of the robots that I've been working on. So this is one of them with my team. We kind of took like a non-conventional design of building our own motor because we just thought like, oh, that'd be kind of cool, you know, build our own like very powerful motor. Allowed us to take advantage of a different robot type. This is one robot that I'm currently working on. So the way it works is it spins and then using sensors, it's able to pulse its motor to translate while spinning. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay, I wasn't sure what we were supposed to prep, so I made like a little presentation, but I'll just go through it quickly. Yeah, hello, I'm Gloria. I'm a senior. I'm double majoring in computer science and design. Um, I wanted to go back to high school because I heard this is a panel for high schoolers. So in high school, I spent a lot of time on robotics, specifically first robotics competition, and then just general miscellaneous art things. So when I was looking at colleges, I wanted a way to like, maintain these two interests, basically. I ended up at MIT and I was really worried about not being able to find like a creative community and outlets to do creative work. And Design Plus, which was like a first year learning community, really helped alleviate those concerns. I met other creative people and like Manu and Luke have talked about, I got access to the space, which gave me the resources and the space to like work on my own projects. I was really still interested in robotics, so I worked on some like miscellaneous projects with friends that were like robotics related. I declared a major in mechanical engineering. Um, and but at the same time, I was like working on a lot of design projects on the side, like illustration or fashion or sewing, just like anything that I was interested in. And Design Plus was like a really big reason I was able to continue fostering this interest, even while I was taking like really technical classes. So these are just some like miscellaneous projects from the past few years. Um, yeah. So I did two like technical internships that were in robotics, and I really felt like I was missing that design component, the creative part. So after those 2 years, I kind of came back in junior year. Oh, yeah, this is me in my sophomore year internship where I was working on like autonomy and controls. So in my junior year, I felt really lost. I came back to my like design core where I started, and I started to consider like it's like a career in design more seriously. Um, yeah, and then I was questioning like what type of design. And through Design Plus, I was able to reach out to people in these fields. So I like chatted with people who were working in graphic design, industrial design, architecture, product, and I was just kind of like bouncing around and really thinking about what my skills could really be applied to. Okay, I'll just skip this slide. But basically, I took some classes in theory and I think drawing on like the projects that I had worked on, I realized that I really wanted to combine like computation engineering and design work that related to the world outside of just computers and technical information. And that's kind of where I'm at today, like thinking about stuff that's, technical and creative, but also like society, socioculturally interlinked in some way. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for sharing. We'll keep the floor open for a few minutes if anyone on the chat wants to ask us any questions, and I'm sure they'll be happy to answer questions from their own experiences to ideas and yeah, just how they work through things.
While we wait for questions, maybe I'll add part of what I really like about Design Plus is how interdisciplinary it is. So you saw like the three of us are three different majors, like there's architecture design, there's mechanical engineering, there's computer science, and all of those like fall under the big umbrella of design. So being part of Design Plus was a really great opportunity for me to meet people who are studying and interested in other subjects. Like I studied architecture all throughout high school and was really tunnel vision. And then when I came to MIT, I found a lot more stuff interesting. So then I ended up doing a double major and a minor. And I find that really rewarding. And like, I think that my projects are like a lot better and a lot more rich because of that.
Yeah, I
And I think
definitely
just
second that. Oh, go ahead.
all right. Yeah, just one thing that I would add as well is that like MIT motto is mens at modus, like mind in hand. And I think MIT is really good at getting the mind part like done, like many classes, lots of P sets, lots of lectures, lots of exams. I think that like the hand part is a little bit more up to like the person, like person to person. So I think Design Plus is a great way to do that. And I think it's been really rewarding to like be able to like use what I'm learning in these classes in real life to like inform design. And I think that like together, the mind and hand really like build each other up. So that's been something really cool from exploring both realms.
Looks like we have a couple questions coming in from the YouTube chat. So, do any of you want to take this first one? It's how did you know what to do in high school, and how did you get that exposure from winning?
I could start, I guess. I think I didn't have like this grand vision in high school of like, oh, this is what I, need to do to become successful or like get into a good school. I feel like I focused a lot more on like just where my interest took me. And I was worried sort of when it came to like, you know, having a spike or whatever, because I felt like I had a lot of scattered interests and I had to have like a cohesive brand for myself. But I think I've realized that like it was really good to just do things that I was interested in, like even if they like didn't end up as like a resume line, they were far more productive in the long run and making me realize what I want to do, and what actually is my passion. And I think Manu and I, we both were the middle 2 years of our high school experience were online. So at least for me, in those 2 years, I spent a lot of time online, like on the internet. And I think that exposed me to a lot of interesting, like, ideas and types of art and types of engineering, and just like watching videos of people online who make stuff was really inspiring. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
second that, not necessarily having a complete vision of what you want to do, even though for me, my high school had like what we call like a career technical program. So they're like three class tracks in all kinds of different careers like agriculture, computer science, architecture. And when I entered high school, I just found myself really fascinated by the architecture track. So I did three classes in architecture, and then I was like, might as well major in architecture in college. Like it seems like something I really like. But even when I got here, then I mean, things change all the time. And now I'm going on to do grad school, but in civil engineering and not necessarily architecture. But all of those previous experiences, I still feel like are so helpful and are the foundation of like my design sense and how I approach problems. That I am very grateful that I did them. So I think I would say, yeah, I got exposure to the things or the skills I needed just by chasing what like made me excited or what I felt like I could be passionate about. What makes you want to get up in the morning and you feel like you could get in the morning at like 6 a.m. every day and do this, maybe 7 a.m. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, both of you. And one more question coming from the chat. I guess broadly talking about Matt, or also if you want to discuss the opportunities you mentioned in your brief talks, how did you find out about those opportunities?
Yeah, I can talk about this a bit. So, I mean, I found out about Design Plus through like basically MIT has like first year seminars, learning communities. So it's kind of like you just rank them and go with that. But I think like speaking more generally, a lot of the opportunities I've got are like through asking people. So a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't know how to like take on this part of my project. I'll ask someone and they'll point me in the right direction, which help me like get some more connections, find out more about this lab and stuff. I think it's also really helpful just like to take advantage of what you're given. So for example, last year I ended up doing a hackathon, and I showed up early, and then like there was someone else who was there early, and he was like looking for a teammate, so I joined his team. And then I ended up like finding out like about the club that I'm in through him and joined some really cool projects. So I think just like getting to know people is super valuable. Like generally people want to help you, point you in the right directions, give you the right resources. So yeah, like show up to things, meet new people, and I think that like will help you like gain a bigger network and then like get you connected to more resources.
Great. Gloria or Mona, if you guys had to elaborate on that.
Um, I guess like I can answer it in like a slightly different direction as well, or a different dimension. Um, I feel like if you guys as high schoolers are like interested in opportunities or in careers or just different fields within design, it's helpful to like just go online and look at like people's portfolios and the types of work they do and see if you can imagine yourself doing that kind of thing. Like, for example, I don't know, I think design fields can be a little opaque sometimes, and it's helpful to really see, okay, what are the nuts and bolts of what I would do day to day if I worked as a product designer at a tech company. It might not be what you think. It's, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know how to draw, I can't be a designer. But like, for example, I just feel like, yeah, there's a lot of other things like related to business or tech or etc. that go into design roles, and it's a good way to learn about those opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gloria and Luke. Um, One more question coming from the YouTube chat from May. How do you find that Design Plus encourages interdisciplinary work? And did you get to work in teams on design projects through it?
Yeah, I can talk a little about this. I think Design Plus just by nature encourages interdisciplinary because it brings together people from a bunch of different majors, different interests, and different backgrounds, like all together in like the Design Plus space. And we just meet up and talk and like share our experiences and interests. So, I mean, as an architecture major, talking to a computer science major or a mechanical engineering major, I just learn about what they're doing, what classes they're taking, what projects they're doing, and it encourages me to like try to incorporate some of that into my own learning and my own work. And I've definitely worked on, I mean, all 4 years at MIT, I've been working in teams on design projects. That includes my studio projects. And then for civil engineering, we also do a few project classes which involve design projects. And I think Design Plus has informed like all of those experiences. And if anyone wants to expand on their own experience.
Yeah, I think I would just add that like the community in Design Plus is very focused and encouraging like making. And just like generally whenever you're going to make anything, it's going to take it's like assuming it's something like something physical, it's going to take some like mechanical engineering skills of like some spatial skills. Oh, I need this to look like this, function like this, work together like this. A lot of the time there will be some if there's any like computation to it, there's going to be computer science with coding. And of course, like electrical engineering to get your sensors, everything like that working. So I think like the maker community allows people to be really interdisciplinary and like get a well-rounded sense of how to make things. And I would just say quickly on the teams of projects, yeah, I'd agree. Like everything that like all our projects in Design Plus that I was on were very group oriented, which is also like once again very helpful to like learn from other people because they have a perspective on some field that you might not be the best at. And yeah, so it's super helpful to like make yourself a more well-rounded designer.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add that like, or an example of a class is 2009, which is technically under the mechanical engineering department, but a lot of people who like are interested in design and Mickey will take it. And I think the MIT environment makes a class like that possible, where you basically work on these semester-long, very large projects with teams of like 10 to 20 people, where there will be people who are very like, focused on one part of the technical component. Like they'll be doing the mechanical analysis or the electrical design. And being in an environment where there's a lot of people who are engineers, who are also designers or who can you can collaborate with to do design projects makes just like opens up so many doors within design.
Awesome. Thank you all three of you guys. So one more question from the YouTube chat from Lana. As a high schooler, what projects did you guys find helpful in showing your skills to get internship opportunities? And if you want to also cater this maybe towards Matt in any way, like feel free to direct that.
I think in my own experience, so I did two architecture internships in my first 2 years, and I think I had architecture projects in my portfolio, but in addition to that, what I think was really impressive or helped me get the position was the personal projects I did. So, for example, the little flower project I showed, or I also did some projects in 3D modeling, like character modeling in Blender, because it's free. Um, Sensing a trend here. But I think like taking that personal initiative and just exploring, like even if things don't turn out as you expected, or even if it was more of a learning experience in a finished project, showing that you did that is really helpful in the design field. People love to see.
Yeah, I want to second that. I didn't do internships in high school, but same as Manu, I feel like my personal projects were what actually got me like visibility because they were unique and they show your voice and your passions more so than a class project would or something that you just do because you have to.
Yeah, and I'll just like quickly add that I think something that I've heard from recruiters a couple times is for like a portfolio, for example, especially in engineering, they really like to see the design process and kind of like, I chose to do this, but this is why I chose to do this. Like I chose these motors because they offer like this special function. And to see that like you clearly thought through like the design of your system, um, like to show that you're like a well-rounded engineer and understand the design process. And then like also as just a base layer, it's helpful to have technical skills, like just putting something like, oh, 3D printed this. I know how to 3D print, know how to CAD code, whatever it is. So yeah, those are two really helpful things for projects.
Yeah, I actually want to touch another, like, I think doing your project is one thing and documenting it and presenting it is like a whole other sub project of its own. Learning how to write about your work and take nice photos is really important.
Yeah, just I'll add one more thing. Like there've been like so many times where I just wish I like took more pictures of all our projects. Like take lots of pictures, screenshots, etc.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Um, One question which I find really interesting from Curious Ocelot in the YouTube chat. Um, what's your thinking process when you want to create and bring your ideas to life? What does that take? And they just mentioned it's particularly interesting and could be inspiring to them. So yeah, I guess what's going on in your brain when you're like thinking about these projects and how do you want to approach them and what's your overall flow look like?
I guess,
Yeah, so I can, oh,
oh,
so you go
no, go
ahead.
ahead.
So I'll just like quickly talk about like from my expense, like my experience is like I generally start like high level, like, oh, this is what I want my thing to accomplish. This is what I want it to do. And then kind of like work downwards from there. For example, like for the robot that I built for combat robotics, like I knew generally what it wanted to do. And then from there, I'm like, okay, how can I accomplish this best? What's like the drive system going to be? Then how can I like use this, like the outer ring to like support that? Like kind of like work downwards and then like kind of verify your design with like math can be helpful. So for example, I wanted to like I set benchmarks for my design, like, oh, I want it to be able to spin to like 100 RPM within 3 seconds. And then like doing some quick hand calcs to make sure everything like that is okay. Also verifying like the physical design with CAD can be super helpful. And I think like one thing that I kind of keep in mind whenever I'm designing anything is like keep it simple. It's kind of like I just always think that having the most simple design like just helps keep things like from breaking, less like modes of failure, more elegant and can a lot of the time work better. And especially like when you're like building on like a deadline, stuff like that can be super helpful to get things done easier, use less resources. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll expand on that a little bit and maybe just phrase it in a different way. I like to think about adding constraints like sequentially. So at the start of the project, you're very unconstrained. And as your idea comes to fruition, you're adding more and more constraints so that it finally turns into a complete and like solid final project. So even when I start a project, I might actually have a very vivid idea of what I think the final project will be, whether that's like an architectural plan or like I'm working on my thesis right now. It's a thesis in computation. So there's an application and then I have to write the thesis, which is, an essay. But even if I have this very vivid idea of what it will turn out like, when I'm starting out, I still need to explore these possible avenues and then add constraints on each aspect. So maybe I want to design a building, and there are 5 different options for the program or different variations on the program. Maybe I'll take an hour to explore the implications of all of those, and then I'll choose one, and that's constrained. And then I'll keep going like that. And I think just taking that systematic view of like funneling down your possibilities helps me create like, projects that I think like going back to talking about portfolios, then when it's in your portfolio or somebody's asking about it, it's very easy for you to talk about your thought process and why you made each decision.
I also, and to add, I had a professor once who said that like to make creative work is the crux of it is learning to see, learning to look at things and pick out what makes them interesting, what is something that you would personally want to explore. So I guess I'll talk about that in the context of like this project that a bunch of people and I worked on this 2 years ago, where we basically were like, we want to make clothes out of metal, out of sheet metal. And this all started because we saw a piece of like bent metal that was like this big lying in actually the Design Plus space. And it just blossomed out into like all these different material explorations. But I think like building off what Wanu said, having that constraint, that material constraint in the beginning of metal just enclosed the space. Like we were like, we're just going to use this one. We might add some more things later. But after that, it was just a lot of negotiations with figuring out like how to make the metal actually bend around something that's shaped like a body, how to attach it to itself. And that ended up producing more visual forms that were more interesting. So I think like maybe it's not, I think it's easy to say like, oh, pursue your curiosity, but it's a really good practice to just try and look at things intentionally around you, like your furniture, your web apps, all your like textiles, and think, how is this made? How could I reimagine this?
Awesome. Honestly, that was amazing answers from all of you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to you know, spending your time to spread, your wisdom and your experience to a lot of excited hackers that I'm sure are eager to get into the field. So thank you guys so much. Let's all, if you're in the YouTube chat, drop a thank you to these three and Matt overall. But yeah, this is the first workshop of our workshop series for Blueprint Week. So stay tuned for the rest of the week for more. The next one's at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight with MIC Biomakers, and excited to see you all there. Thank you once again, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, just ended the stream. Thank you guys so much. That was awesome.